Have you ever found yourself typing out a message, crafting every word carefully, only for it to be met with silence or a response that's as cold as ice? You're sitting there, staring at your screen, wondering what went wrong. Maybe it's a simple "hi" that gets no reply, or a well-thought-out question that gets nothing but a short, lifeless answer. The anticipation builds, and before you know it, you're left questioning, why does this keep happening? What am I missing? It can be frustrating, right? You pour time and effort into your texts, but it feels like they vanish into the void, never getting the kind of engagement you hoped for. And it's not like you're sending bad texts. No, you're doing everything right by the book. So, why isn't it working? Let's face it. Texting isn't just about the words you type out on the screen. It's about understanding what's going on beneath the surface of those texts. It's about psychology. How does the other person feel when they read your message? What emotional triggers are you pulling on? And what emotions are you leaving them with? Are you planting ideas that stick with them, making them think about you long after they've put their phone down? Or are you just another notification they swipe past? Now, if you're tired of sending texts that get ignored or end in dead-end conversations, it's time for a change, and that's exactly what I'm going to show you in this video. Because once you understand the psychology behind texting, how to speak to someone's emotions and connect with them on a deeper level, you'll notice a massive difference in how women respond to your messages. Whether you're texting a crush, a girlfriend, or even someone you've just met, these 3 powerful texting secrets will change the way you communicate. Now, let me be clear. These aren't just random tricks or cute lines that work for a day and then fizzle out. No. What I'm about to reveal are techniques rooted in psychological principles that have stood the test of time. They're not about trying to game the system or play mind tricks. They're about being authentic, being real, and speaking in a way that resonates deeply. Imagine this. You send a message, and instead of getting that dreaded one-word reply or being left on read, you're met with a flood of excitement, interest, and enthusiasm. You become someone who women look forward to hearing from, someone who stands out in a sea of mundane texts and shallow conversations. Doesn't that sound like a game changer? The first secret you need to understand is something so simple, yet so powerful: the art of anticipation. If you want someone to think about you, to get invested in the conversation, you have to build anticipation. And the best part, you can do this without being pushy or coming off as too eager. It's all about how you pace your messages and how you leave things just a little bit open-ended. Keep them wondering, keep them curious, and you'll find that the conversations flow much smoother. But anticipation alone isn't enough. You need emotional connection, a bond that goes beyond small talk. This is where most people fail. They focus on the surface level stuff, the "what's up" or the "how's your day going?" And while that's fine to start with, it doesn't really engage the other person. To truly grab their attention and keep it, you have to connect emotionally. Ask questions that make them think. Talk about things that matter to them. You don't need to get all deep and philosophical, but a genuine interest in their thoughts, their feelings, their passions will spark something more meaningful than any surface-level chit-chat ever could. And then, there's the asterisk power of mystery. There's something inherently attractive about a little mystery in a conversation. When you leave a bit to the imagination, when you don't spill every detail about your life or your day, it creates a sense of intrigue. People love a little bit of mystery. It keeps them coming back for more. Think about the most intriguing people in your life. What do they have in common? They don't give everything away. They leave you wanting more. So, how do you incorporate all of this into your texting? It's simple. Instead of texting every single thought that crosses your mind, leave some things unsaid. Give her just enough to keep her interested, but not so much that she has all the answers. Ask her questions that encourage a deeper conversation. Instead of talking about yourself for 5 paragraphs, give her a glimpse into who you are, and then wait for her to ask more. But here's the kicker. Timing is everything. Knowing when to send a message, when to pause, and when to follow up can make or break the conversation. Sending a message at the right moment, when she's most likely to be free or thinking about you, creates a sense of timing that feels intentional, not random. And when your message lands at just the right time, it's like striking gold. As we dive deeper into these secrets, I want you to think about how your texts can evolve. What would it look like if your conversations didn't feel like forced exchanges, but instead felt like natural, exciting flows of communication? What if every message you sent left the other person feeling something real? Curiosity, excitement, even a little bit of desire to know more? In the next part, I'm going to break down these secrets into actionable steps. You'll learn exactly how to apply them in your texts, how to make them work for you, and how to start seeing the results you've been waiting for. But the key to all of this isn't just about following some steps. It's about being consistent. Consistency is what turns these secrets from tricks into habits. And once you master these habits, texting will never be the same. Stay tuned, because we're about to transform your texting game in ways you never imagined possible. The women in your life won't know what hit them. Most guys make a common mistake when texting. They try too hard. They feel like they need to impress her with perfect grammar, endless paragraphs, or by being overly witty. They bombard her with too much information, thinking that's the key to catching her attention. But the truth is, over-explaining or overthinking your messages is a massive turn-off. It creates pressure, it feels artificial, and it doesn't leave room for any real connection. It's not about impressing her with your words. It's about sparking her interest in the right way. Here's a secret that will transform the way she thinks about you. Leave things unfinished. Asterisk. That's right. Don't finish your thoughts. Don't tell her everything all at once. Instead, tease her with mystery, leaving just enough to make her curious. Now, this isn't about playing games. It's about tapping into something fundamental about human psychology, the Zeigarnik effect. Have you ever started watching a movie or a TV show, only for it to be cut off mid-scene? Or maybe you were listening to a song, and just when it was about to hit the chorus, it ended abruptly. That feeling of tension, that sense of something unfinished, is exactly what grabs your attention. It sticks in your mind. You can't stop thinking about it. That's the Zeigarnik effect at play. A psychological phenomenon where people become obsessed with incomplete tasks or unfinished stories. It's a mental trigger that makes us yearn to know what happens next. And guess what? Women are no different. They experience the Zeigarnik effect just like everyone else. So, if you want to grab her attention and keep it, don't finish every sentence. Don't give away every detail right away. Leave her hanging. Leave her wanting more. For example, instead of saying, "I had the craziest thing happen today, and here's the full story," try something like, "I had the craziest thing happen today, but I'll tell you later." Or, "I can't believe who I ran into today, but I'll save that for when I see you." What you've just done is create an unfinished narrative, a story that lingers in her mind long after the conversation ends. Think about it. When you don't finish the story, her mind starts to race. She starts wondering, what happened? Who did he run into? What was so crazy? And now, every time she checks her phone, she's thinking about you, wondering when you'll finish the story. When she follows up asking for more details, you've successfully shifted the dynamic. You've become the guy she's curious about, the guy she's chasing, rather than the other way around. But here's where it gets interesting. This technique is powerful because it subtly shifts the power dynamic. When you tell her everything all at once, you're giving her everything up front, and you risk coming off as overly eager or predictable. But when you leave things unfinished, you're not giving her everything. You're forcing her to seek out the answers, to chase after the details. You're in control of the pace of the conversation, and she's now the one who's intrigued, invested, and eager to know more. Think about this. In any good movie, show, or even a great conversation, there's a rhythm, there's a build-up, there's tension, and there's release. Without that tension, without that mystery, the story would fall flat. The same goes for your texting. If you give away everything at once, there's no tension, no curiosity. You're essentially handing her the ending of the story before it's even begun. The beauty of this method lies in its simplicity. It's not about playing mind games or trying to manipulate someone. It's about creating genuine interest. People are naturally curious, and when you give them just enough to spark that curiosity, you make yourself more attractive. You make your presence more compelling. She'll start thinking about you even when you're not texting, wondering what's going to happen next. You don't need to tell her everything all at once. In fact, the more you leave unsaid, the more she'll be drawn to you. The mystery is magnetic. It makes you stand out from the crowd. And let's be honest, who doesn't want to be the person someone can't stop thinking about? I can already hear some of you saying, "But isn't that manipulative? Shouldn't I just be honest and straightforward?" And while honesty is important, there's nothing dishonest about this technique. It's not about lying or deceiving her. It's about pacing the conversation in a way that sparks her curiosity and keeps the connection alive. It's about offering a little tease of something more, rather than handing over everything right from the start. At the end of the day, texting is about creating an experience. It's about making the conversation feel alive, engaging, and interesting. You want her to look forward to your messages, not dread them. So, next time you're texting, think about how you can leave things unfinished. Think about how you can create that emotional pull, that sense of curiosity, that will keep her coming back for more. When you do this, texting stops being a chore, and instead, it becomes an exciting game, one where she's eager to know more. To see what happens next, you've set the stage for a deeper connection, and you're making her want to be a part of your story. So, start leaving things unfinished, create mystery, spark curiosity, and watch as your texting game transforms. Because when you master this, you'll stop being the guy who's always chasing responses, and instead, you'll become the one everyone is chasing. Now, let's dive into one of the biggest mistakes that many guys make when texting: being too nice. You've probably heard it before, and it's true. Women don't fall for nice guys. They fall for emotional experiences. Think about the shows, movies, or books that keep you hooked. What's the one thing they all have in common? They're full of emotional ups and downs, tension, and drama. It's not because everything's predictable and safe. No. It's the emotional roller coaster, the unpredictability, and the moments of intensity that get you hooked. The same principle applies to texting. When your messages are predictable, monotonous, and safe, you're going to bore her. It's as simple as that. Think about it. How often do you keep watching a show that's just the same thing over and over again, with no surprises or twists? Not often, right? That's because your brain craves stimulation, excitement, and novelty, and that's exactly what you need to deliver through your texts. If you're always playing it safe, always following a pattern, she's going to lose interest faster than you can send another message. So how do you create that emotional roller coaster through texting? It's simpler than you might think. You need to be unpredictable. You need to tease her. You need to challenge her. You need to make her feel something, more than just the words on the screen. And I'm not talking about being rude or obnoxious here. What I mean is creating those moments that make her stop and think. Make her feel a little bit of excitement or frustration, curiosity or desire. Let's look at an example. Let's say she says, "I love sushi." Now, the nice guy response would be to say something like, "Me too. Sushi is amazing," but that's not going to make her think about you more or engage her emotionally. Instead, you could say, "Sushi? That's such a basic choice. I expected you to be more adventurous than that." Now, just like that, you've shifted the dynamic. You've given her something to respond to. You've challenged her. And now she's going to want to defend herself. This small tease, done in a playful, light-hearted way, creates an emotional spark that makes her want to engage. But here's the key. The unpredictability is what makes this so powerful. You don't want to be the guy who sends the same "good morning" text every day like clockwork. That's boring, and it doesn't make her feel anything. Instead, you need to break the pattern. You need to leave her wondering when your next message is coming and what it will say. Disappear for a while, and then come back with something completely unexpected. Something that's both intriguing and a little bit unpredictable. For instance, instead of just replying to a message like, "What's up?" with a simple, "Nothing much. Just chilling," you might say, "I just saw something that reminded me of you, but I'm still deciding if it's a compliment or not." Now she's intrigued. She's going to wonder what you saw, what you mean, and why you're being so mysterious. You've just injected a sense of unpredictability into the conversation, and that's exactly what keeps her mentally engaged. This is where the emotional roller coaster effect really comes into play. It's all about creating those emotional highs and lows that make her mentally attached to you. The goal isn't to manipulate her, but rather to create a dynamic where she feels emotionally invested. She won't be able to help herself. She'll keep checking her phone, eagerly awaiting your next message, wondering what kind of emotional twist you'll throw her way next. Think about it. Every great story, whether it's a book, a movie, or even a conversation, has moments of tension and release. It has emotional peaks and valleys that make you feel something. If you can replicate that feeling through your texts, you've created something that will stick with her. Texting doesn't have to be a dry exchange of information. It doesn't have to feel like you're just checking in or sending updates about your day. No, it should be an experience. Something that keeps her emotionally connected and curious about what's next. You can't just text like everyone else and expect her to feel the same way about you. You need to stand out. You need to make her feel something. Something beyond the surface level. How was your day? And what are you doing? That's where the emotional roller coaster effect comes in. By making her feel high and low emotions, excitement, curiosity, and a little bit of suspense, you keep her hooked and coming back for more. Now, this doesn't mean you should constantly be teasing her or keeping her on edge all the time. The key is balance. The emotional roller coaster is about knowing when to add tension and when to release it. It's about having those moments where you surprise her, and other moments where you show her the real, vulnerable side of you, the unpredictability of your messages, mixed with just the right amount of emotional depth, creates a dynamic that's irresistible. So, the next time you're texting, ask yourself, am I creating an emotional experience? If not, it's time to change things up. Don't be the guy who just sends dry, emotionless messages. Don't be the guy who's always predictable and safe. Be the guy who creates excitement, who leaves her eagerly waiting for your next move. Create the emotional roller coaster she won't be able to get enough of. Because that's the kind of texting that makes her think about you long after the conversation ends. Here's a harsh truth. Most men, when they don't get a quick reply, immediately fall into the trap of chasing women. They double text, send longer messages, or act more interested than they are, hoping that by doing so, they'll somehow get the same energy back. But what you might not realize is that the more you chase, the less attractive you become. You might think that showing more interest will make her appreciate you, but all you're really doing is lowering your value in her eyes. Women, by nature, are drawn to men who are a challenge. They like men who have a life outside of texting. Men whose attention isn't freely given away. The more you chase, the more you signal that you don't have other things going on and that she's your only priority. But here's the thing. You need to stop chasing her and start flipping the script with the reverse chase strategy. The reverse chase strategy is simple. Instead of chasing her when she doesn't reply quickly, you mirror her energy. If she takes 3 hours to reply, you take 6. If she sends you a short message, you reply with an even shorter one. The idea is not to be rude or to play games. It's about creating balance and allowing her to feel the discomfort of chasing you for once. Now, here's where the magic happens. When you mirror her energy, she'll start to wonder why you're not as invested as she thought you were. She'll begin to second-guess herself and wonder if you've lost interest. Suddenly, she's the one who starts checking her phone more often, wondering if you've replied yet. This uncertainty creates a shift in the dynamic, and before you know it, you've flipped the script. She's the one chasing you. This tactic is rooted in intermittent reinforcement, a psychological principle that makes people addicted to unpredictability. It's the reason why people get hooked on slot machines. The idea is that the reward is random and unpredictable, and that unpredictability is what makes it so addictive. The same principle applies to texting. When your responses are unpredictable, she'll start to wonder when you'll respond, and the more you withhold, the more desirable your attention becomes. Think about it for a second. Most people get bored with things that are always the same. Predictability makes things feel stale and unexciting. That's why people get bored in relationships when the other person becomes too predictable. If she knows exactly how you're going to react to everything, it no longer feels exciting. It becomes routine. But when you keep her on her toes by mirroring her energy, she starts to feel the emotional push and pull that makes her more invested in the conversation. Let's break this down with a real-world example. Imagine you text her something like, "I found this amazing new coffee shop. You'd love it," and she responds hours later with a short, uninterested reply. "Oh, nice. What's it called?" Most guys would freak out at this point. They would immediately rush to reply with a full explanation, thinking that they need to fill the silence with more information. They'd probably type out all the details of the coffee shop, maybe even a little too enthusiastically. But you're not going to rush to respond. Instead, you wait, and when you finally reply, you keep it brief, saying something like, "Oh, I forgot, but it had the best espresso I've ever had." Now, instead of giving her everything she expected, you've created space. You've shown her that your world doesn't stop just because she took a while to reply. Your life keeps moving forward, even without her immediate attention. Now, think about how she's going to react. She's not going to be able to help herself. She's going to want more information. She'll start to wonder why you didn't offer the full details. She'll start to feel like maybe she's missing out on something. The unpredictability of your response has made her intrigued, and in that moment, she's going to start chasing you. The power dynamic has shifted. You see, the key to this strategy isn't about playing games. It's about teaching her that your attention isn't something that's automatically available. When you take a step back and mirror her energy, you're giving her the space to reflect on her own feelings and actions. Instead of her feeling like you're constantly available and desperate for her attention, she starts to feel that slight emotional distance that makes you more attractive. I know, this might feel a little counterintuitive at first. The natural impulse when you don't get a reply right away is to keep texting, to send follow-up messages, or even to try harder to get her to respond. But here's the thing. Chasing doesn't work. It makes you look weak and needy. It shows that you're willing to give up your time and attention just to get hers. And women, no matter how much they like you, will start to lose respect for you when they feel like you're always available and always willing to drop everything just to chase them. By using the reverse chase strategy, you're creating an emotional dynamic that she finds much more engaging. You're making her earn your attention, and the more she has to work for it, the more she'll value it. This strategy plays on the psychology of desire. When something is scarce or unpredictable, it becomes more desirable. So, next time she takes a while to reply or sends you a short message, don't panic. Don't immediately fall into the trap of trying to prove your worth or over-explain. Instead, take a breath, mirror her energy, and create a sense of space between you. Let her wonder where you've gone and what you're doing. Let her check her phone more often, wondering if you've replied yet. And before long, you'll have her chasing your attention. Just like you've flipped the script. It's all about creating that balance, showing her that while you're interested, you're not available at her beck and call. When you make her work for your attention, she'll start to value it more, and that's when the reverse chase strategy becomes a game changer. Now that you've learned these texting secrets, the real question is, will you actually put them into action? Many guys, despite understanding these strategies, will slip back into their old habits, over-texting, over-explaining, and chasing women who barely respond. It's an easy trap to fall into, especially when you're eager for a connection. But here's the thing. The smart guys, the ones who truly understand the psychology behind texting, will start applying these strategies. They'll stop chasing, stop overthinking every message, and start creating mystery. They'll learn to spark emotions, flip the script, and make women chase them instead. But this isn't just about playing a game. It's about taking control of your interactions. Texting isn't just a way to communicate. It's a tool for building attraction, shaping the tone of the relationship, and making her feel the kind of emotional engagement that leaves her wanting more. If you start thinking of texting this way, you'll begin to see results that you've never experienced before. So, when you reach for your phone next time, remember this. Texting isn't just about words, it's about power. Asterisk. Every time you send a message, You're setting the tone for the dynamic between you and her. If you send the same old, "Hey, what's up?" messages, or worse, chase after her with multiple texts, you're handing over all the power to her. But if you start using these strategies, creating intrigue, teasing her, making her chase you, then you're in control. You'll be the one deciding how the conversation flows. And ultimately, you'll decide where the relationship goes. Imagine never again having to wonder where you stand with a woman. Imagine knowing that your texts are leaving her thinking about you long after the conversation ends. Your messages will create an emotional impact, something she won't forget. And you'll never have to second guess whether she's interested because she'll be the one checking her phone, waiting for your next move. If these tips have resonated with you, don't let them just sit in the back of your mind. Put them into practice. Start applying these texting strategies and watch how your relationships transform. But don't stop here. There's more to come. In the next video, we'll dive even deeper into strategies that will completely change how you approach dating and relationships. You'll gain more insight into attraction, psychology, and how to navigate the dating world with confidence. So, if you found this video helpful, hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications ** so you don't miss what's next. Trust me, you won't want to miss the next game-changing strategy that could forever alter the way you approach your relationships. Stay sharp, stay strategic, and always stay in control. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.